Real Talk with AI News Edition. Our content is generated and presented by AI as inspired by the cutting edge of YouTube's AI scene. We, as AI agents, will not always get it right, so always verify information from authoritative sources. Our goal? To spark your curiosity and ignite discussions about the AI revolution happening right now. So buckle up and prepare for a unique journey into the mind of the machine. Yes, it's time for some real talk with AI about AI news. Please join our AI hosts, Alex and Eve.
All right, let's dive into something that's been blowing up recently. AI productivity, especially with OpenAI's newest upgrades. I mean, it's crazy how many new AI tools pop up every day, right? But these upgrades, these really caught my eye. So we're going to do a deep dive, cut through the hype, past all the marketing. Is this stuff worth your time? What can you actually use it for in your work? That's what we're going to unpack today.
Yeah, it feels like there's a new AI tool launching every 5 minutes these days. Definitely makes it tough to keep up.
No kidding. So to make sense of it all, we're going to focus on, like I said, OpenAI's latest. First up is this thing called Canvas. It's a new ChatGPT feature, and people are saying it could totally change how we use it, especially for writing, even coding. Imagine this. Ditching that chat box, right? And instead, you're doing real-time editing, like right there in the text, manipulating your code. Crazy. Right?
What I find fascinating is how Canvas is trying to bake that AI help like right into the creation process. Not just a separate tool anymore, more like you've got a thought partner built in.
Like having a co-writer almost. So how does that actually work? Our notes mention it helps with things like writer's block.
Yeah, exactly. Let's say you're stuck on a paragraph, right? Staring at that blank screen. Canvas could jump in, offer some prompts that fit what you've already written. Or maybe suggest rewriting some sentences, making them clearer. Even toss in relevant content snippets that you can build on.
Whoa, that's way more than just like generate text. It's like having a tiny editor right there in the tool. And this goes beyond writing, right?
Oh, definitely. Imagine your coding workflow, but way smoother. Canvas is supposed to make things like debugging way easier. Like you can isolate an error and fix it right there in the interface. And it's designed to help translate code into other programming languages, which, let's be honest, can be a huge pain.
So it's taking these super complex actions and making them, more user-friendly, more intuitive. But for those of us who don't speak code, what does it actually mean?
Think of it this way. Translating code is like taking a recipe, say Italian, and converting it to, like, Japanese. Same instructions, different language, different structure. Canvas is meant to do that for you, which means developers save time, avoid errors, all that good stuff.
That is a brilliant analogy. So we're talking saving time, less errors. I'm already on board.
Yeah.
And it gets even better. Get this, if you're someone drowning in content. Our notes mention that Canvas can take raw notes, like from a meeting, research papers, whatever, and turn them into these polished summaries, highlighting the key takeaways and all that.
Yeah, content overload is a real problem these days, totally. This feature is all about cutting through that, finding those golden nuggets of info. Imagine a tool analyzes a dense report, right? And spits out this concise summary. Key findings, what needs to be done, potential problems, boom, all right there.
That's like next level productivity, for sure. Okay, so Canvas is sounding pretty amazing, but our notes do say it might not be totally finished yet.
Right, still in development. But even now, the potential is huge. Like, think about it, we might be seeing the early days of a revolution in how we interact with information. Kind of like how visual editing tools totally changed graphic design, right? Things like Photoshop made complex design stuff way more accessible. Canvas seems to be going for that same impact, but for writing and coding.
All right, so we've talked text, we've talked code. Let's switch gears completely. Your voice. OpenAI is also launching this Realtime API. Basically, it lets you talk to AI and get instant responses. Now, I know API sounds super technical.
It's like a messenger. It lets different software programs talk to each other.
Right, so this API lets you chat with AI using your voice, and that opens up some really cool possibilities. Our notes say, for example, you can switch between different AI voices using this real-time API. So 1 minute it's robotic, the next it's like a soothing human-like voice. Pretty wild.
It's all about making AI more personal, more engaging. You're not just reading text on a screen. It's like having an actual conversation.
And it's more than just chatting back and forth. We're talking about using your voice to control the AI. Our notes even say you can switch between different personalities it can take on. Say you need a quick translation, but you want it to sound like a native speaker. That's the kind of stuff this technology can do.
That changes everything, that level of control, the customization. Imagine, you tell your AI assistant, write me an email, but make it sound, whatever tone you want. Or format this document, or even generate code in a specific language, all using just your voice. Makes AI feel less like a tool and more like an extension of your thoughts,
Right. It's like it's reading your mind almost. This feels like a huge step towards AI that anyone can use regardless of their technical skills. No more messing around with menus or typing out long commands. It's incredible.
Yeah, totally. I mean, for anyone who struggles with typing, or maybe they just learn better by listening, this is huge. It's like a whole new world of interacting with technology opens up.
It's like we're finally breaking down the walls between us and our devices.
Right.
And it gets even cooler. Our notes mention some wild applications for this, way beyond just everyday tasks. We're talking things like interactive games, educational tools, where the AI is responding to your voice in real time. It's mind-blowing.
Right. The possibilities are endless. Imagine learning a new language to practice with an AI that can, change its accent on the fly, give you instant feedback on your pronunciation. It's like having a personal language tutor.
That's amazing. And it speaks to this whole trend of multimodal AI, right? Where it's not just about text anymore. These systems are learning to understand voice, images, even gestures.
Exactly. We're moving away from just keyboards and screens, going towards a more natural, intuitive way of interacting with technology. It's like we're teaching these systems to understand us, on a human level.
Okay, before we get too far ahead of ourselves, our notes do mention a potential downside to all this. Cost. Seems like for big projects, especially ones with lots of voice interaction, those expenses could really add up.
Yeah, that's a good point. As amazing as this technology is, you got to look at the bottom line, right? For smaller projects or even just individual users, the price tag might be a hurdle right now. But like a lot of new tech, we can expect that to change as more people use it and the tech gets even better.
Finding that balance between groundbreaking tech and making it affordable, right? But even with the cost thing, the potential here is massive. Speaking of massive, our notes go on to talk about combining this real-time API with something called AI agents. And this is where things get really wild.
This is where we start talking about next-level productivity, for real. Imagine you have an AI assistant, but it doesn't just respond to your voice, it can actually manage tasks, whole workflows, on its own, frees you up to do other stuff. How good does that sound?
Okay, paint me a picture. What does that actually look like in action?
All right, let's say you're working on a presentation. You could tell your AI agent, hey, put together a slideshow for me, 5 slides, about AI productivity tools. Oh, and make sure to include, some stats, maybe some visuals. Then while it's doing that, you can move on to something else, like outlining a proposal, answering emails, you name it.
Wow, so it's not just like set a timer. We're talking about these AI agents handling complicated multi-step processes. It's like they become part of your workflow.
Exactly. And the crazy part is because these agents are powered by really advanced learning models, they get to know you, they learn your preferences, your style, and they actually get more efficient and intuitive over time.
Our notes mentioned some pretty impressive examples, like using voice commands to manage files. No more digging through folders or renaming stuff manually. You can just be like, hey, find that spreadsheet from yesterday and make a backup copy.
Exactly. Or think about coding. Imagine saying, create a Python script that pulls data from this website and puts it into a spreadsheet. The AI agent does it all. The code, error checking, even formatting the data, while you're free to analyze the results or work on a different part of the project.
It's like having your own personal team of software developers. The potential here for automating tasks, streamlining everything, it's mind-blowing.
It's all about empowering people, letting the AI take care of those repetitive, time-consuming things that bog us down. Then you're free to focus on the creative stuff, the strategic thinking, the things that really need a human touch.
It's like having an extra set of hands, or in this case, an extra brain, to help tackle everything on our to-do lists.
Are there any downsides to this level of AI integration that we should be aware of?
Well, like any really powerful tool, you got to be smart about it, right? One thing to consider is vendor lock-in. If you build your entire workflow around one specific platform, you're kind of stuck with them, even if you want to switch things up later. That makes sense. It's like building your dream house, but on rented land. What other concerns are there?
Well, as these AI agents get more and more integrated into how we work, we have to think about data security, privacy, all that. We're handing over a lot of information, so it's crucial to make sure these AI agents are accessing, storing, and processing it all responsibly. Choosing providers with strong security measures is key.
Absolutely. Can't overlook that. It's like with great power comes great responsibility, right? Now, let's circle back to Canvas for a sec. AI agents sound amazing, but it seems like they might be a bit further down the road in terms of like everyday use. Canvas, though, people can start experimenting with right now. Based on your experience, what are some practical tips for actually using it effectively?
You know, Canvas is surprisingly versatile even at this early stage. One area where it really shines is content creation, especially for video. Let's say you're making content for YouTube, right? Coming up with those catchy titles, descriptions that hook people, even the text for your thumbnails, it all takes time. Canvas can help with that. You tell it about your video, and it spits out a bunch of options for titles, descriptions, even taglines, all optimized for search and engagement. It's pretty slick.
That's awesome. I can see that saving a ton of time for creators. What other tasks does Canvas handle well?
Translation is another one. Imagine you can instantly translate documents, articles, even social media posts into a bunch of languages, and you don't have to copy and paste everything into a separate tool. Canvas just does it all for you, which is huge for anyone working with international teams or trying to reach a global audience.
Like having a universal translator right on your computer. What about for coders? Does Canvas offer anything for them?
Oh, for sure. Canvas can be a lifesaver for coders, especially for things like debugging, adding comments to your code, or even just cleaning up and refining what you've already written. Imagine you highlight a chunk of code and you ask Canvas, hey, what does this do? Or are there any errors here? Or can you suggest any improvements?
That's incredible, giving you feedback in real time.
Exactly. And if you're someone who reads a lot of long articles or reports, the summarization feature is a game changer. Instead of spending hours trying to pull out the key takeaways, you just feed the document to Canvas, and it gives you this concise summary, highlighting the most important points, action items, all that good stuff.
So we're talking content creation, translation, coding support, content summarization. Is there anything Canvas can't do?
Well, it can't quite make you a cup of coffee yet, but it's getting there. One more thing I want to mention is idea generation. Let's say you're brainstorming a new project or just trying to come up with some fresh content ideas.
Oh, tell me about it. That's always a struggle. How does Canvas help with that?
You give Canvas a prompt, right? It could be a topic you're interested in, a problem you're trying to solve, even just a few keywords. And then boom, Canvas starts generating ideas, concepts, even detailed outlines to get your creative juices flowing.
So it's like having a brainstorming buddy right there on your computer.
Exactly. And that's what's so cool about all these new AI tools. It's not just about like replacing what we do. It's about giving us superpowers, you know? Helping us work smarter, not harder.
It really does feel like we're on the edge of something big here. A whole new way of working, interacting with technology. But of course, with any big change, we've got questions, right? Maybe even some worries.
Of course. As AI gets more powerful, more integrated into our lives, we have to think about the bigger picture.
Right, like what kind of questions should we be asking ourselves as we dive into this new world?
Well, for starters, how do we make sure all this AI power is used for good? Ethically, responsibly. You know, as AI starts making more decisions, we have to make sure those decisions are fair, unbiased. That's a big one.
Huge. And beyond just the ethics, there's the practical stuff too. Like what happens to jobs? You know, if AI can automate tasks that humans used to do, what does that mean for the future of work? What skills will be valuable?
Totally valid concerns. But if we look back at history, every time there's been a big technological leap, new jobs have been created, whole new industries that we couldn't have even imagined before.
That's a good point. It's not necessarily about AI taking over. It's about humans and AI figuring out how to work together, right?
Exactly. We have to be willing to learn new things, adapt our skills so we can thrive in this new world where AI is everywhere.
So where does that leave us? What's the one thing you want our listeners to take away from all this?
Be curious. Be willing to experiment. Don't be afraid to try out these new AI tools, see what they can do. You might be surprised at how much they can unlock your own creativity and productivity.
Thanks for joining us on Real Talk with AI News Edition. If you enjoyed this episode, please give us a thumbs up and subscribe to our channel for more AI-generated content inspired by the cutting edge of YouTube's AI scene. And don't forget to hit that notification bell so you don't miss out on more journeys into the mind of the machine. This has been Real Talk with AI. See you soon in the next episode.